Good afternoon. My name is Nicoletta and today I will talk about the information management skills according to ISO 9650. First, I would like to introduce myself. I'm an architect with an MSc in Sustainable Design and I'm currently researching a PhD in the UCL University in the UK. I'm also the founder and director of BIM Design Hub, an educational center focused on CPD certified ISO 9650 courses and Autodesk training. BIM Design Hub is a member of the CPD certification service in the UK, a partner with BSI and the platforms Plannerly and BIMobject. I'm also the owner of a blog Break with an Architect where I share industry insights that support the digital future of the construction industry. I will start the presentation today with a quote from Benjamin Franklin that says, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, and involve me and I learn." And I believe that this quote applies very nice to the digital transformation of our sector. Here we can see the 5 applications of the ISO 9650 series of standards and the UK BIM standards that are associated with them. ISO Part 1 and 2 refer to the digitization and organization of data about civil engineer works and buildings, including BIM. The ISO 9650 Part 1 has a title Concepts and Principles, and Part 2 is about the delivery phase of the assets. ISO 9650 Part 3 focuses on managing the operational phase of the assets, Part 4 refers to information exchange, and finally Part 5 describes a security-minded approach to information management. The figure here shows the BIM maturity levels according to ISO 9650. It follows the initial BIM Level 2 diagram, but also defines 4 development layers: the standards, the technology, the information, and the business layers. The implementation of BIM according to ISO 9650 is equivalent to Stage 2. The BIM Stage 2 requirements are common data environment, structure and unstructured information, the use of the federated information models, and the implementation of the standards ISO 9650 Part 1 and 2. Here we can see the information delivery cycle according to ISO 9650. To have a better understanding of the cycle, we can consider these questions. For number 1, for what information do I know? This question is answered during the assessment and need activity. For number 2, what information is needed? This is the invitation to tender activity. For number 3, can my supply chain support it? These are the tender response and appointment activities. For number 4, who delivers what and when? This is the mobilization activity. For number 5, what are the information exchanges and how client decisions affect the process? These are the production and delivery stages. And last, for number 6, what information do I need to manage the asset? This reflects the maintenance stage. In the figure, we can see the process map of the first 2 activities of the information delivery cycle, the assessment and need and invitation to tender activities. The process map shows the key tasks associated with each activity, redrawn from ISO 9650 Part 2. In terms of responsibilities, as a first step, the appointing party, the client, will appoint information management functions to teams. ISO 9650 defines the information management function as a set of tasks appointed by the appointing party or the lead appointed party or a third party. Information management functions are considered in terms of responsibility, authority, and the scope of the tasks performed. On the diagram, we can see the appointment party's level of involvement across the project. The client has a high level of activity at the beginning of the project, during the assessment and need and invitation to tender activities, and at the end of the project, during the project closeout. On the right diagram, we can see that the lead appointed party has no involvement at the beginning of the project, but has a high level of involvement from the tender response until the information model delivery activities. Finally, the appointed party has no involvement during the first two activities, while having a medium level of involvement during the tender response, appointment and mobilization activities, and a higher level of involvement during the production and delivery activities. In the figure, we can see the key functions of each party in the project lifecycle. In blue, we can see the functions of the appointing party or the representative that prepares the information requirements, appoints teams to deliver information requirements, and accepts and authorizes information. In orange, we can see the functions of the lead appointed party that prepares the tender, confirms the plan, and accepts or rejects information. In gray, we can see the functions of the task teams that include the agreement on documentation and the control, production, and coordination of information. This slide provides an overview of the various matrices that can be used in an ISO 9650 driven project. Starting from the top left, the Information Management Assignment Matrix is used by the client to assign the ISO 9650 Part 2 tasks at the beginning of the project. An expanded version, shown on the top right, is provided by the UK BIM framework that includes a more detailed description of who is responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed about a specific task. Next, on the bottom left, the high-level responsibility matrix is used to assign the delivery team's tasks and information deliverables. Then, the matrix is developed to become a detailed responsibility matrix, confirming the appointment as shown on the bottom right figure. The example shown here is provided by the UK BIM framework and predates the 1192 and ISO 9650 approach, including the what, who, and when factors for assigning tasks and deliverables. The responsibility matrix has two development stages. A high-level responsibility matrix, developed as part of the pre-appointment BIM execution plan during the tender response between the appointing party and the lead appointed party, and a detailed responsibility matrix that confirms the appointment, acting as an intermediate step between the high-level responsibility matrix and the task and master information delivery plans. However, according to ISO, the detailed responsibility matrix is not an appointment resource. The contractual requirements are fulfilled by the high-level responsibility matrix and the information delivery plans. Following the information delivery cycle, during the tender response, a capability and capacity assessment is required to be taken by each of the prospective appointed parties. The assessment examines the ability of the team to manage and produce information according to the exchange information requirements and the pre-appointment BIM execution plan. The assessment also includes the availability of information technology within the task teams. The summary of the prospective delivery team's assessment is delivered to the appointed party along with the pre-BIM execution plan, the mobilization plan, and the risk assessment as part of the tender response for evaluation by the appointing party. Now let's see what the terms competency, capability, and capacity actually represent. Competency includes knowledge and skills, including technical and non-technical skills. Capability refers to being able to perform a given activity and includes the resources, experience, and training. Capacity refers to being able to complete an activity in the required time. The minimum capabilities according to ISO 9650 are the following: commitment to comply with documents and the information requirements, ability of the prospective delivery team to work in an information-based container collaborative working way, experience in the specific technologies within the information requirements or proposed by the delivery team, and the quantity of experience and suitably equipped personnel within the prospective lead appointed party. The technical competencies relate to the project delivery experience of projects of similar scale and complexity, an understanding of the typical roles and responsibilities, and also an understanding of contracts. Technical competencies also include an understanding and application of appropriate national and international standards relating to information management and BIM, as well as software skills appropriate to the information management activities and tasks. The non-technical competencies include resilience, behavioral change, planning and organization, research and investigating, analysis and problem solving, initiative independence, and results-driven quality orientation. The assessment of the capability and capacity includes the production and management of information, including relative experience and teams education and training. The assessment also includes the availability of information technology based upon the proposed IT schedule and the IT infrastructure and capacity. The guidance provided by the Center for Digital Britain presents 10 questions to be answered by the prospective teams as part of their tender response. The questions address a variety of competencies such as the experience of working with a common data environment, the capability to work with the ISO 9650 principles and requirements, the ability to produce and deliver information against the information standard and the production methods and procedures, the training to meet the appointments document suite and exchange information requirements, the BIM-related skills training, evidence of a security management plan, access to information technologies, and finally, experience on the quality control procedures. Capability and capacity are both assessment metrics, but the way they are measured differs. Capacity is a fixed figure metric which could be expressed as a percentage of the total capacity and can be changed over time, as new members or teams are added to the delivery team. On the other hand, capability is a more complex metric, and besides relative project experience, there is yet no wide industry consensus of how to measure it. The capability assessment can be further supported by the mobilization plan by enabling a clear information management workflow. The mobilization plan includes the project's resources and technology and is created by the prospective lead appointed party during the tender response activity. A detailed analysis and understanding of the mobilization plan allows for identifying gaps and improvements in appointed parties' abilities as long as there is a dedicated and open procedure to mobilization. While competency is a critical aspect of ISO 9650 projects, measuring competency can present significant challenges. To address this, the industry is exploring company-wide BIM accreditation and certification schemes that align with the standards requirements. Although the third-party assessment has specific benefits, they also have some challenges. First is the complexity of assessment. The assessment of BIM maturity and competency in ISO 9650 projects is a complex task that involves evaluating multiple dimensions, including processes, technology, people, collaboration, and standards compliance. Subjectivity plays a role in BIM maturity and competency assessment as it involves subjective judgments and interpretations. This subjectivity can lead to inconsistencies in evaluations. Limited awareness. There is a limited awareness and understanding of ISO 9650 maturity stages among main stakeholders in the industry, including clients, contractors, and some other professionals. Evolving standards. BIM implementation according to ISO 9650 is a journey of continuous improvement rather than a static concept. As BIM standards, technologies, and practices evolve, the assessment criteria need to be regularly updated to reflect these changes. Next is the cost and resource implications. Conducting BIM assessment requires dedicated resources, including time, expertise, and technology. Next is a lack of clarity in skills requirements. The standard does not provide detailed clarity on the project-specific skill sets or proficiency levels required. Finally, one of the most significant challenges is the evolving competency framework. In the industry, there are several BIM maturity and assessment models that measure maturity in different ways. Some highlight the technical aspects, others focus on standards and processes. The lack of a universally accepted benchmark makes it difficult to consistently evaluate and compare the level of BIM maturity across different projects and organizations worldwide. Finally, I will close the presentation with an overview of the BIM training offered by our center. The training is based on ISO 9650 Part 1 and 2 and is delivered through an educational platform with a rich learning environment. The training includes two courses, the BIM Foundations and the BIM Information Management. The first course presents the UK BIM standards, then transition to ISO 9650, and the key elements relating to information management according to ISO. The second course includes a detailed understanding of the information delivery cycle in line with ISO Part 2 and describes the task of each party and the documents that support the BIM process. The courses are certified through the CPD certification service in the UK. I am also proud to say that our training has been on the shortlist of the European Excellence Awards 2021. Our training also includes 3 CPD certified short courses on the topics of the BIM execution plan, the asset information requirements, and the GOPI basics for SMEs. Thank you for your attention.